scars remind me to appreciate the days I don't have to.
Hello.
Hey, Jim.
Hello there.
Hey, actually, he's a little loud in my headphones. Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah. You're very loud.
Check. Is that better?
I feel that way.
Down?
I'm in that vendetta kind of mood.
That's
today,
better.
You
Yeah,
know?
Is that good?
that's better. In that vendetta kind of mood, huh? How you doing? I haven't spoken to you in a while.
I am well.
Yeah, good.
I'm well. Trying to stay productive. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I ran into a fellow by the name of Fede Alvarez
Oh yeah,
on the airplane yesterday, and he directed Romulus, which is the new Aliens film that kind of put the franchise back on its feet. Came out about 6 or 8 months ago or whatever. And I didn't really have a chance to talk to him very much. He approached me when we were getting off there. I noticed him on the airplane. He's a good-looking guy.
You've mentioned him before.
Well, that's because he directed Aliens, and he basically put the franchise back on its feet now. But now also, is the other Netflix or what's?
It's on Hulu. It's called
the one
Alien Earth.
Alien Earth is also getting like very, very good notices. So like the whole Aliens universe. Thank you. Is seems to be making a strong comeback. But I spoke to him for a while. I didn't ask him if he would come on the podcast, but he said that he would get me his information, and so I'm going to try to get him. I'm going to try to get him on the podcast. Very attractive guy. Comes from somewhere in South America, and I'd be very interested in knowing and seeing some of the movies that he made. Because you don't just get handed Alien Romulus by Ridley Scott. From what I understood, he was going to direct because it did so well, they're doing another one, and from what I understood, he was going to direct that too. Up until about a week ago, I read that he is no longer directing it, but he's still producing it with Ridley Scott, but I'd love to have him on just to talk to him about his career and Ridley and he also said that Jim was around and or at least he was available to kind of check in with and I made it sound like he was even more than that, maybe, just like, as helpful as he could possibly be, which is, Jim, I always think of Jim as a guy whose time is very precious. And it was interesting talking to him, and I'm going to reach out and, see if I can get him on the podcast.
Well, I got a couple of his other movies here just on IMDb. His first feature film, he did the Evil Dead remake in 2013, which is very good.
Okay.
The Evil Dead franchise. He remade it. It's very violent. It's creepy.
Yes.
It's a very good remake. He followed that up with Don't Breathe.
He did Don't Breathe.
Yeah, he wrote and directed both Evil Dead and Don't Breathe.
Is that
really?
Don't Breathe, Stephen Lang?
That's the Stephen Lang movie.
Yeah.
So he wrote and directed both those. After that, he wrote and directed The Girl in the Spider's Web.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember, it was like I think it was a trilogy, and it started out called The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which is a very popular book.
Very popular book.
Daniel Craig was in that. I think Rooney Mara might have played the girl, but it had a lot of hype, and I don't think it did super well. That was the follow-up to that. He wrote and directed
It had a lot of hype behind it.
Yeah, it had a lot of hype behind that book series. And then his next directing credit is Alien Romulus. So.
Right. I'd be interested in seeing. I think he started where maybe you can check and see where he's from, like Uruguay or something like something.
Yeah, from Uruguay.
Is it Uruguay? Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see some of. I think at least one or two of the films that he made in Uruguay. Because he didn't just come here and start making movies. I'm sure, but anyway, it was fun talking to him. A very attractive guy, and he was with I think his co-writer. And I noticed them because they were sitting right next to me on the plane, but they were speaking Spanish most of the flight. And airplanes aren't when you're on it, for me anyway, when you're on an airplane now, like it's because of my hearing. It's just like hard to, with the engines and jet engines, and it's hard to hear, and I don't really, I've gotten to the point where I get embarrassed when I have to say, what? Like too many times. It's just a dead fucking giveaway.
Cup your hand up to your ear.
Huh? Remember back in the old days when they used to have those have we spoke about this before? Like that thing you stuck in your
it looked like a funnel or something, a funnel in your ear,
like the old-fashioned hearing aids.
Into this, yeah.
It's hard for me to imagine how that worked very well, but not very. That used to be a thing. I thought I would.
I also just wanted to touch on too. I don't think you've watched it, but the Alien Earth series on Hulu is very good.
Yes,
it's very good.
Timothy Olyphant is in that.
Yeah, Timothy Olyphant's
right?
kind of
wow.
He's kind of the only big name I believe in it, and everybody else is kind of not a big name, but he's good in it. He plays one of the cyborgs, but kind of starts out a little slow, but there is one episode that they do where they're, it's not really a spoiler. They're on the ship and things are going sideways, and it's just very much like the first Alien movie, and it feels a lot like it in an updated version. They have kind of other
Is Ridley involved with that one too?
I don't think so. I mean, he might have some kind of producer credit, but I don't think so.
Wow. Okay.
But it is very good.
Yeah. I know it's very good, and so the whole franchise is not, not just Fede, but, he had put it back on its feet, and I know that he's working with Ridley, but I haven't seen it, but what did you say it was on Hulu?
Yeah, it's on Hulu right now. I'm trying to look for Ridley Scott's name anywhere on Wikipedia. I'm not finding. Oh, yeah, executive producer producer Ridley Scott. Yeah, David Zucker.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was kind of fun. I thought I'd check in with you, Jim, and Kaylin today, and get my glasses on around the headphones, and I'm gonna ask you, Jim, and Kaylin, so tell me about what you thought about the Emmys and who won and who lost, and which was your favorite shows that did well, and how are your expectations about the Emmys? You go ahead and go first, Jim.
Let me say that I only
don't pull it up. Don't pull it up. Don't pull it up on your computer.
I think The Pit won for something. It won best series.
Yes, The Pit did.
And all I know about The Pit was that it's about the hospital in Pittsburgh, and an old girlfriend of mine went to med school there, which is the only association I had with that.
I've watched The Pit.
Yeah.
How is it?
It's very good. It's very entertaining. I never watched ER, but people are just saying it's like a new ER. I think the creator of ER is suing the guy that created The Pit. I believe that's what's going on.
Well,
the first season's very exciting, and from what I've heard of people that work in hospitals, it's like the most accurate depiction of an ER that they've seen in a movie or a television show. That's what I hear from nurses and doctors who have seen the show.
Well, your brother, Alex, who's an EMT, said to me a month ago or 2 months ago, said, "Dad, you got to watch this movie, The Pit, or the show, The Pit. You got to watch The Pit. You got it's very, very realistic." And so I didn't do that. I guess it's no surprise that Stephen Colbert won for, what is it? What would that be, like?
Tonight,
best
Late Show?
Talk show or something.
Best late night talk show.
On CBS, yeah.
Yes. I guess that's not really too much of a surprise. And the other big win, one of the other big winners is
The Studio.
The Studio, which is a movie that we talked about a little bit, and it's Seth Rogen. And I was kind of excited about it because I've always liked Seth Rogen, just an extraordinarily talented guy. And he's the one you did the picture with, correct?
He came into my Coffee Bean when I was a barista there.
How old were you?
This was, I must
should
have been
post that picture when we do that.
Yeah, I could put it up on the YouTube feed right now. You can see me in my coffee, my barista gear. This was after he had done like 40-Year-Old Virgin, Pineapple Express. Like, he was big then. And I remember he walked in. Nobody was in there. I was the only person on shift. There was no customers in there. He walked in. I freaked out. You know, he just ordered a coffee. I gave it to him. I was like, I gotta get a picture. And I was fumbling with the camera. Like, I couldn't get the selfie right. He grabbed it out and he said, "Give it to me. I'm used to doing it." So he took the picture and I walked into the back room and I was posting it and tweeting about it. And in the meantime, a bunch of customers had come in. There's no one in there but me in the back. And they're like, "Hey, we need help out."
Get a coffee out here? Yeah. No, I'm busy.
And then he came into the Corolla show years later with his writing partner, Evan Goldberg, and I got another picture with him there. But I'll try and put the barista pic up on the YouTube.
Yeah. Well, I actually watched the first 2 episodes of that, and I thought the first episode was like really good. It was really very entertaining, and it seemed. Have you seen any of it, Jim? Because
no, because I thought I would kind of binge it.
Yeah.
A couple seasons of it, which I did with some of the more popular shows like Breaking Bad. I didn't watch that until maybe they were just about to wrap it up, and then I binged it for a week, and I thought that really kind of helped. So I thought I'd kind of do the same with Studio.
Yeah, the Studio, I watched the first episode, and I just thought it was so good. And then I watched the second episode, and for me, it was, he plays like head of a studio or newly appointed head of a studio, and he comes to the set to visit the set, and, the filmmakers really don't want him there. They don't really want him around as
they don't.
Filmmakers don't want, they
don't want the studio guys, suits hanging around.
Yeah. And that was the second show. And, maybe it's just because I've been on so many sets. It seemed, a little rambunctious, just
a lot of kind of pratfalls in that second episode, him running into ice trays on the set and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it could have just been the second episode, and then it could have smoothed out, because I've done, shows, and one show will be, I did that show, Hawaii, years and years ago, and we did the pilot, and the pilot was just not very good. It was a 2-hour pilot. The pilot was not very good, but a couple of the episodes after that were pretty good. So it's kind of hit and miss, I think, sometimes with those shows.
Yeah,
but,
for a show to find its legs.
Yeah, Seth Rogen is always...
Yeah, I mean, it's a comedy show, and the thing about it is, like, it's almost like an anthology series in that each episode has its own different, movie or thing that they're doing. It follows Seth and his career and his partner, like Barinholtz. But like each episode is kind of like a different scenario that they're being put into.
Yeah.
And some of them are better than others, I think. But it's a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's not trying to be like a realistic studio. it's got a lot of celebrities in it.
No, but
and
it's definitely using a lot of real anecdotes as fodder. It's following that old Nora Ephron line about everything is copy. And you can see, and I'm sure you see in it a lot of, I know in that show there are a lot of stories that really happened in one fashion or another that just get folded into the show because they're so funny.
What is, shows you how out of it I am, what is Adolescence?
Oh, that's a show on Netflix. I think it's like a 3-part series. I know a little bit about it.
6 awards, including Best Limited Anthology Series.
Yeah, I think it's about, and I'll look it up in a second, but from memory, I think it's about like a father whose son is in school and he is like, something happens where I don't think he kills another student or is blamed for doing it, or his son might be going a little crazy in school and he's having to deal with it, but I'll look more into it, but I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, okay. And The Pit, another surprise, Jeff Willer won Best Supporting in a Comedy Series.
Sorry, you can get back to that. It's a psychological drama. Stephen Graham, who's fantastic. He's really, really good. It centers on a 13-year-old schoolboy who's arrested after the murder of a girl in his school. And each episode was shot in one continuous take.
I feel like
really?
I feel like I think Jennifer watches a lot of this stuff, and I have a feeling that I saw that, and I think I saw the part where. So what I was gonna suggest is maybe, because Caitlin talks a lot about Jim. Listen, like you and Jim are great, but you're talking about movies 50 years ago. Might want to try to update your movie thing.
Not that that's a bad thing. I think a large portion of our audience wants to hear that talk.
Oh,
too.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, the movies that you and I, were being made when you and I got started are now showing up on Turner Classic Movies.
I know. Well, listen, I have never, ever wanted to be that guy. Like, movies aren't what they used to be. I've never wanted to be that guy.
When you and I got started, I know I used to run into people older folks who would say, it ain't like it used to be.
Yeah.
It ain't like it. Yeah. It's gone downhill. It haven't gone downhill ever since.
Exactly.
And named some event 20 years ago.
Yeah. And when I was younger, I used to look at those people and think, God, you fucking are just old.
Get out of the way.
Get
out of the way. Move. Get out of my way. And leave. Then go.
Nobody needs you anymore anyway. You're past that. What's that age bracket that they used to? I don't know if it's still the same, but there used to be an age bracket where people were like buying cars and houses and washing machines and groceries and all that, and it was 20 to 40. They had a name for that.
The 18 to 49-year-olds or something who were the ideal target for advertisers.
Yeah. So anyway, I was with Jennifer and Caitlin. Dashel, and Jennifer always likes to have something on in the background, and although sometimes it doesn't seem like she watches it, she just likes when she comes into a hotel room or in our bedroom. There's always something on the screen, and she'll be doing other stuff, and mostly other stuff on her phone, like the rest of us. But I went in. She said, "Well, let's put a movie on." I'm like, "Okay, well, go ahead, put a movie on." And what do you want to watch? Then it turns into, well, I want to watch a documentary about World War II, but you probably. So I said, like, what, put a a couple things came up, and the most recent Jurassic Park, which is it's not Jurassic Park. It's called something completely different. Like the newest one.
There's been a couple of them, but the newest one is kind of another reboot that they did with Scarlett Johansson.
Yes,
that's the one. Yes,
okay, right. So that one, I think, if you look at it, it just made a fortune. I think it did very, very well,
that one's called Jurassic World Rebirth, and it made $864 million.
$864 million. What's interesting, I'll tell you another person that was, it's got Scarlett Johansson in it, So
Mahershala Ali.
And that's the guy from Green Book. He won an Academy. Did he win the Academy Award for Green Book? Or did the movie just make an Academy? I think he won.
I think he got a supporting for that.
I bet it's best supporting actor for Green Book. And he's in it. And so
he did.
Yeah, I started watching that. And instead of just, staring at my phone, I thought, like, you know what, I should, so I can go back and, talk to Kaylin or our audience or whatever, and hey, I just saw this. And I also remember one of the Jurassic Parks where I just remember somebody on a motorcycle with the aliens chasing him, some famous actor. He wasn't. But you know what I'm talking about?
It's probably the Chris Pratt version.
Yeah. And actually, I kind of remembered that as being kind of okay.
Well, the first one was actually pretty good. They rebooted it. First one, Chris Pratt. You're like, okay, this is pretty good. And then they made 2 follow-ups that were just
okay. Well, this one that just made very close to $1 billion. I just. Jim, I just don't get it anymore.
The world just passed me by.
I watched it for a while, and it's got great talent in it, and I just looked at it, and I was thinking about the movies that sometimes that we talk about in the '70s, and all those people like De Niro and Pacino and Dustin Hoffman and all those movies they were making back in the day, and Warren Beatty and kind of these serious, they were taking Nicholson, subject matter. Jack Nicholson, of course. Yeah. They were taking subject matter, and actors were, they were fantastic in it. And anyway, so I was like, oh God, I can't watch this anymore. And so I thought that I'd seen quite a bit of it. I thought I'd really stayed with it enough to go, like, they hadn't even gotten to the island where all the dinosaurs were. They were just on a boat, and they were dealing with a big dinosaur in the water. And I'm just too old. And so right before I turned it off, I looked up and realized that. Because at this point I'm like, okay, I've seen and I've really tried hard, and I've seen enough. And I looked up, and I was only about a third of the way through. It had another 2/3 to go. And I said, hey Jen, what? I'm not watching this. Maybe you could find something else. And just because I know it's popular, just because I know people are talking about it, I looked up, The Naked Gun. Oh, The Naked Gun. Okay, let's put on The Naked Gun. And so we did that. And that also very successful and made like $500 million. So maybe the two of them are just getting so much press, but
that one made $101 million on a $40 million budget. So
it's already made 101.
Yeah.
All right. So that one's a huge success.
It came out in August. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But I hadn't seen it because I'm not The Naked Gun. Like I remember the first one. And who was the star of the first one, Jim?
Leslie Nielsen.
How old was Leslie Nielsen when he made Naked Gun? I'm curious about that.
I would guess he would be around 60.
Yeah.
Would you say maybe a little older? Somewhere in the 60 range?
I don't know.
He was born in. Sorry, I think 1929. Is that what that just said? He's born in 1926, and the original came out in 1988. So
Do the math, Jim.
Yeah, he's about 60.
He was 60?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what you have is the guy from Schindler's List.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson's what, 71 or 171 or 72?
Yeah, he's 73.
73. You know, and to me, that makes a big difference. You know, when you're kind of doing pratfalls and like silly stuff, you know, I mean, you can kind of get away with it when you're 60, but when you're in your mid 70s, it just isn't quite as funny. And it's just me. I'm obviously the odd man out here because it's this big deal and everybody is watching it and loving it. And so you don't. You know, I'm trying to upgrade, Caitlin. I'm trying to find, movies these days that I can watch and come in here and talk about and try to turn our.
So you're right.
Watching reboots of movies made 40 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I've been like, oh yeah, you should, catch up on some of the newer movies. And you're like, if I don't like a movie, like I can't really talk about it for that long. And even you talking about trying to find the newest movies that are out now, I'm kind of going back in my head, like, what are some of the ones that came out in the past 2 years that I could really recommend?
He's starting to age out too, Jim.
Yeah.
It's 32 and he's starting to go like, they don't make them like they used to.
The world just passed him by, you know?
Yeah, I watch a lot of TV shows that I like too, but there is, this is going back a little while. There is 3 movies that I want you to watch if you haven't seen them already, and you can talk about them later. These are all Taylor Sheridan's movies. He only directed one, but he wrote 2 others, and he did them back to back.
Yeah.
And you should watch these 3 movies. These are the 3 I could recommend that I think you'll like. The first one is Sicario, which you've probably seen Sicario.
With Josh, right?
Yeah, with Josh. And The next one I've told you about before, it's Hell or High Water.
That one I haven't seen.
That's Jeff Bridges. That's Ben Foster.
Okay,
that's
great. Those 2. I'd go watch either one of those guys in something. So when you got the 2 of them together, okay.
That one's fantastic. It's about 2 brothers who start robbing banks so they can pay off their house that's getting foreclosed on by the bank because it sits on like an oil field. So they start robbing banks. That one's fantastic. And then his one after that is called Wind River.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard about that one.
No, I haven't. But
that's the one that Taylor Sheridan directed, and it's with Jeremy Renner. And he plays a it's not Alaska. It's like Montana or one of those really cool
probably.
states.
Well, there is a Wind River in Wyoming, and it's
it's Wyoming, and he plays a he kills he's like a wolf tracker, and he kills invasive wolf.
I think
species,
there's an old Charlton Heston movie called Wind River that takes place in the same terrain.
I'm not
from
seeing
50 years ago.
Oh, it was also produced by Peter Berg. I didn't see that. But check those. You've already seen Sicario. Check out Hell or High Water and Wind River. And those are 2 movies from 2016, 2017 that I think you'll like a lot.
Okay, but those movies are both nearly 10 years old.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so but
I would consider them still newer compared to the ones you're talking about with De Niro.
Well, especially they were Taylor Sheridan movies, and look at the kind of empire he's got now.
Yeah, well,
and
I'm sure I will. I'll watch them.
I think a lot of the content these days is being spread out into television a lot. Like I was just looking at this Wikipedia page, and I saw Peter Berg, and Peter Berg is great.
Yes.
And it's like you have a lot of great actors and directors
yeah.
that are deciding to move into television shows now and maybe kind of taking away from great movies that can be done, and they're moving into television shows now. Peter Berg did a great new Western on Netflix, which is fantastic. I'll look it up in a second, but I would recommend American Primeval, I believe is the name.
Yeah,
It's,
I've seen. Yes,
and it
yes.
has
It's a good title.
yeah.
Well,
American
Gary Oldman has that Apple series, Slow Horses. It's
Slow
in
Horses.
its fifth
I love
season
Slow
now,
Horses. I
and
love Slow
and
Horses.
I saw the first season of that, and I'll definitely watch the rest. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, that's a fantastic show. That's really good, and it's coming back. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I enjoyed the Taylor Sheridan movie about the oil.
Landman,
Landman, yeah.
the Billy Bob thing.
The
Yeah,
Billy Bob one. I watched a few of those episodes last year.
I heard those were good. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was very good too. I'd rather watch that. I mean, to me, that's I'd find a couple episodes of Landman much more interesting than what's the
Yellowstone.
what's the
did you ever
Jeremy
watch
Renner one that he does?
It's called
for
Mayor of Kingston,
Mayor-
and that's
Mayor-
also
Mayor of
awesome.
Easton?
Yeah, the Mayor of Kingston is, I haven't followed it like this year. I haven't watched it this year, but I did binge watch that. That was before he got hurt in that horrible, tragic accident. But he made an
he's
incredible
such a
comeback.
Tough son of a bitch that
I'll tell
that
ya.
even that accident that he had didn't really deter him from making more episodes of that show.
No, I know.
He seemed to get there wasn't like really any time in between seasons after that accident happened to him. He got right back into filming that show, and they probably cut out some. I don't know. He got right back on it after that accident, which is crazy.
They didn't push that show.
I mean, I can check, but
I think
if they did,
had
it wasn't
to have.
for
I
very
think he
long.
was really, really fucked up. I think he had
he was.
like a dozen bones broken, and I mean,
They might have. I don't know when the accident was, but
Okay.
the first season aired in 2021. The second season aired in 2023.
well,
which,
that's
again-
COVID. Is that
No,
COVID
no,
time?
that's
No.
past COVID. No,
When
but
was
even
COVID
still,
back?
That was started. That's 2020.
That wasn't atypical for cable either, to go a whole year. So sometimes there would be a whole year when The Sopranos wouldn't be airing or Breaking Bad wouldn't air.
Yeah, I mean,
the
if
next
you're
season
looking
would be
at-
13 months from now or
Not only
15
that-
months from now.
So season 1 is 2021. Then he probably had his accident because season 2 is 2023. Comes back season 3, 2024. And these days, Stranger Things. There's years in between those
Yes,
seasons.
there
That
is.
big
Yeah.
show on Netflix
Yeah.
Wednesday. There was years in between that for,
Yes. I would think that I've always thought that the longer that you wait in between sequels, the more people would kind of forget about you a little bit. And I remember talking to Jim about Avatar, and I think when first Avatar came out, I think that it was like fucking a lot later when the second Avatar came out, and I'm like, God, you're
Almost 10
dealing
years,
with-
wasn't it?
I think it was longer than that, man.
Yeah, I think
was
it
a
was.
long
Yeah, I mean, the first Avatar was in 2009, and the second one is in 2022.
Okay, so like you're talking 12 years.
Yeah.
For and to me that's almost like a completely different generation. That's just
You really are talking about a different movie-going generation, if generations went to movies anymore, which they generally don't. But
yes, yeah, and speaking of Jim, I saw Jim, and I've been excited about the fact that he's going to come on the podcast, and I've been like, I don't want to, rehash the Terminator with him. I don't want to rehash, it's an important. I've never really thought of interviewing anybody. Just like have fun. Come on in, let's have fun. Kathy, tell me your stories. Eddie, let's hear how and let's just have some fun. But when you have Jim on, there are certain things that I would like to talk to him about. And I was watching, so I've been watching some interviews that he has done in the past year or so. And I want to talk to him about there's AI, Jim, and then what's that next level of like special AI or like there's an AI that's supposed to be coming in like 10 years that is not what we have as kind of simple AI. It's got a name and
is it? I mean, you could either be thinking of like quantum computing or sentience when AI achieves.
Look up AI and look up like the next. And we're not there yet, but it's I think. And I wanted to talk to Jim because Jim talked about it a little bit, and I hear people when I do AI kind of research, people always talk about,
So it's just like the AI overview that I got.
Yeah,
is that the next iteration of AI is moving beyond static generative models to more autonomous, integrative, and collaborative systems.
No, there's something anyway. Jim, kind of check that out while we're talking. It's called like super AI or something, and it's not going to it's not in the next year or 3 years. It's like like 10 years away. But they used to think that I don't think anybody expected AI to develop so quickly. Everybody's predictions about when like AI, can't find anything on that.
I mean, you're not giving me much to search for. I just searched super AI, and it was like there's super AI or artificial super intelligence is what I'm saying.
It's sort of sentience, the same concept as sentience, I would think. Basically, it can operate on its own. It's got its own human level capacities.
Well, anyway, this was last year that he did this interview, and he was doing the interview with Gail Hurd, and last year was, I believe, the 40th anniversary of the Terminator. So the two of them basically were talking about how they got that done, and the trials and tribulations of making the Terminator, and it was very, very, very entertaining. And then towards the end, about the last 10 minutes of the interview, Jim starts talking a little bit more about this. I'll just call it advanced AI. I'm going to look it up on my phone and say, this is what I was talking about. And he started talking about, warfare and, wars being fought by AI. And so it would be very interesting to have him on, I just think that, and I want Jim and you and maybe anybody that's listening to this, I'd like to really kind of dig deep with Jim. I want to hear about his. Go ahead.
He's made some almost kind of provocative statements about AI, like maybe we already are.
Yes.
Maybe it already has taken over. I'd love to hear him expound on that.
Well, here's the thing about AI, and Jim is like this also, and everybody, who's the guy who left the big company and now...
Sam Altman?
Yes, yeah. You have Sam Altman talking about it, and everybody wants to put kind of a positive... Nobody wants to be negative.
I'm seeing commercials on TV now talking about how wonderful AI is.
Well, but nobody wants to be negative and go, well, and I'm like, for me and what I can see and the way that like we've just as a world embraced it, so quickly, and everybody's using it for their business or their work, and just having fun with it. And there's 40 different companies making their own versions of AI, and a new one comes out, and it's just, like I've said before, like money chasing AI. And I just don't see any looking back. It's like, I think your expression, Jim, is the cows left the
Well, yeah.
the barn, or
The horses left the barn. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a very negative.
There's no getting that toothpaste back in the tube.
Yeah, that's right.
Sure.
I have a very negative,
Outlook.
Thank you, on like where this is headed, because it seems to me that, like, we're developing AI. If we were all friendly in like a country, and we were friends with China, and we're friends with Russia, and we're friends with South America, like if this was like this loving, sort of caring, wonderful world, I could sort of understand maybe it not, but it's not. And it's, the AI is being developed by people who, just want to make money, and would, kill to get it. And a warring, when you think about the human experience, I mean, when have we not been at war? I mean, going back to the Jean-Jacques movie,
Quest for Fire.
Quest for Fire, yeah. I mean, the tribes were beating on each other.
Now we're talking about old movies.
Yeah, that is relatively old. That I actually went up for. And
did you?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. I didn't. I obviously didn't get a part in it. Ron Perlman is.
I was going to ask you, wasn't Ron in that movie?
Yeah, Ron Perlman is kind of the star.
Ray
of
Don
that.
Chong, remember her?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Is that Tommy Chong's daughter?
Tommy Chong's daughter, yeah.
Right. Well, there's a part of the movie which is I've always found the most fun in the movie. Do you know what I'm going to say, Jim?
I think I know exactly what you're going to say.
You go ahead and explain it.
Well, was it the discovery of the missionary position or something before that?
No, it was Ron's character, and the women are like clean. They're like
that's what I was
near the
to.
water, and they're like cleaning, like.
Bending over, basically.
Basically bending over, and there's like kind of close up on him, and he's like like an animal. He's like sniffing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's that smell? And he looks over and he sees
he jumps her.
runs over and does this stuff. But I can remember being. I want to say that was. The same place that did Aliens and 25. I think that was at Fox. For some reason,
I think it might have been, yeah.
I believe that was at Fox.
Have you? When was the last time you talked to Ron Perlman? I mean, you guys did the Magnificent Seven together. I remember running into him with you, and I was a kid, just on Ventura Boulevard. We were both in our car. We pulled, hey, Ron Perlman. That was before Sons of Anarchy, when I think he really blew up. But I was just curious if you talked to him anytime recently.
Oh, I see him. I see him out and about. Very interesting. Ron had been working. I read an art. Oh, by the way, Jim, have you read at all about Katzenberg? Is it Katzenberg or who was the biggest like money maker, left Disney and went out and joined Spielberg or whatever. Who am I talking
Well,
about?
that was Katzenberg. From when DreamWorks got formed, it was David Geffen,
No,
Steven Spielberg,
no.
and
I
Katzenberg.
believe I'm talking about Geffen. Have
You
you
could be,
read
yeah.
or heard anything about his divorce?
I have, yeah. From a companion, what, 50 years his junior?
Not well, yeah, he's senior by 50 years, but he's worth like whatever $20 billion, and he's
Quite
had
a
this
bit, yeah.
young kid in his life, and then I guess they got married a couple of years ago, and well, I think the young kid got sober, and that kind of changed the relationship, and I guess it's the divorce is going to be kind of big and
Well, I'm just seeing here that there was no prenuptial
there was no
agreement.
That's
prenup.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
From what I read, there was no prenup.
Right. So he probably made him an offer of like $100 million, and he probably went, nah, I don't think so. I'll take one of those billions.
I'll take that yacht, that $500 million
Yeah.
yacht you go cavorting around
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Well, I think he offered him the yacht. I think the
Did he?
yacht
Did
was.
he?
I could be wrong about that, but I just thought like it's not just it's the first gay divorce that I've heard about that is like blowing up in the news, and we're going to hear all about it.
Well, I was
probably.
astounded when I read that there was no prenup.
Right.
Holy crap. I mean, David Geffen was one of the shrewdest people in the business in the last 50 years. And for him to have like no prenup, holy crap.
But if they got, and who knows where they got married, probably the Bahamas or something, but if you're married in California and you own property and you own $1 billion and then you get married, that person that you marry is not eligible for any of that billion that you already have.
No, but they're eligible for anything you make after that. And if you're worth $20 billion, you're making tons of money just sitting around.
Well, yeah. But that's the money that
even with no prenup, that guy is eligible for a lot of money.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It comes from a really, really small, backwards sort of town.
Oh, there's quite an age gap here between these two.
Yeah.
David Geffen, 82, sued by estranged husband, 32. So
is that 50 or 40?
That's 50 years.
Hey, listen, if I was him, I'd probably be doing the same effing thing. Look at that. What's the name of that coach that used to?
Belichick.
Yeah.
That didn't take long. That didn't take long for you both to get. Hey, did he win his second game, or is he 0-2?
I haven't heard anything about it. So
well, he lost his first one, I believe, but that there's a little bit of a gap there too. But Belichick's is he North?
Yeah, he's North Carolina now.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah. No. And Doug Stanhope is on a run. He won the first 2 games this year.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So I wrote him I think this is your longest winning streak in the last 2 years. He's won 2 in a row. So
well, it'll reverse itself real quick, I imagine.
Well, we'll see.
Then he'll hit that 11-game streak of losing. Yeah.
He's down to only owing me 5. I just let it carry over to the next year.
Yeah.
Instead of having him pay me and then us just be even, I just like being, as I tell him, on top. And I think he's. Oh, by the way, did you see fucking Charlie is so fucking smart. Have you seen any of the Charlie Sheen stuff at all?
No.
Yeah.
What are you referring to?
I listened to him on Rogan. He went on Rogan last week. I was listening to him there.
Well, I watched him on what's the guy who The only way I can describe him, that late night show. I always forget his name. Dates black women and
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher, thank you. Well, Bill Maher had him on, and Bill Maher asked, because Charlie's come out and said that that he's slept with men, he slept with women, and so Bill Maher said to him, "Well, were you a bottom or were you a top?"
Catcher or a pitcher, which were
Yeah. And Charlie, I only heard it once, and I didn't watch the whole thing. The whole thing for me is, I don't really want to know about it. And I'm glad that he's doing better, and I'm sure he'll make a lot of money with this documentary and his book and everything. But he had a way of like talking about that question, and it kind of shows you how smart Charlie is, that he can kind of talk his way into answering the question without answering the question. I guess there are a lot of people that can do that. And then I wasn't really paying that much attention to it, but he was like, "Well, that's how you got AIDS, isn't it?" And again, I wasn't listening that much to it, but AIDS was something that back. What year, Jim, was that when AIDS was really kind of starting and taking off? And
early 80s, 84, I would say, 83. Yeah. That's when you started to hear these stories about gay cancer. Right. Remember how there was a particular kind of it was called Kaposi sarcoma that would cause these purple lesions, and you start hearing about this gay cancer that was around, and that was in the early 80s, 83, 84. You started to hear those stories, and then they were able to actually put a name on it and call it acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, and they discovered it was from a virus, the HIV virus. So that was all in the mid 80s.
Yeah, everybody called it AIDS except for Reagan.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Took him like a fortnight of years. Like, took him a while. But anyway, so when that was happening, like none of us knew. People were frightened of touching gay people. People, the people that had AIDS, because it wasn't only, you didn't only acquire that blood disease and become HIV positive through sex. You could also have a blood transfusion.
Sir Ash died of AIDS that he got from a blood transfusion.
Exactly.
That little Ryan White, the little boy.
Yeah. Well, how did Brian get? Was it a blood transfusion also? There was the Ryan.
Yeah, it was a blood transfusion.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people that were like, it's a little 12-year-old kid who's got
and certainly HIV drug addicts who would inject. That was a very common method of. That's why they start all these needle exchange programs, because that was a kind of a common method of transmission as well.
Well, that's how, that in my mind. Just in my mind, just because, Charlie's been married like 3 times and he's got like how many kids. And so, but, when that was first happening, nobody knew what the fuck was going on. And then when we all found out that
he's got 3 wives, 5 children.
Yeah.
So you and him are exactly alike in that regard.
Well, I'm going to get to it, but I haven't taken it up the ass yet. So we're not exactly.
Not yet.
Not yet. Boy, it would take quite a role. It would take quite a.
Just that one time, and then they call you gay after that.
I kind of thought maybe he was shooting drugs. And maybe he was using it like a dirty needle or something like that. And of course, he doesn't have AIDS. He's got HIV, and now HIV is, pretty containable. I would call
look
it.
at Magic Johnson. He's been alive for almost 30 years with HIV.
Yeah. Well, Magic was right at that time when things started. Things started turning around.
Yeah.
What is that movie called? The Dallas
Buyers Club.
Yeah, Dallas Buyers Club. I had a friend, and Kaylin knows who I was talking about. Who I was very close to, and Kaylin and his mother were very close to, and he was right there at that time too, and I remember telling him that Magic had just been diagnosed with HIV, and boy, did his eyes get big. And so, the only, other than a blood transfusion, or because we were all scared as heterosexual men of having sex.
Well, that was the whole kind of how it got started in the movie Dallas Buyers Club. Matthew McConaughey's character isn't gay. He's straight, and he has sex with a girl and then gets HIV from that. So that's kind of, and then everyone thinks that he's gay, and he's like, no, I'm not. I like women. But that was what happened in Dallas Buyers Club, which was based on the true story.
Okay, yeah. But here's the thing, and I've been saying this for years. I've had who wrote that book, Fatty, about Fatty Arbuckle? Jim, you remember?
I don't know who wrote the book, but I certainly know the Fatty Arbuckle case.
Yeah. Less than zero, not less than zero. Anyway, okay. But anyway, so what seemed to happen at that time when the entire nation, including, heterosexual men and heterosexual women, were frightened of having unprotected sex because they didn't want that disease to happen. And there was a long period of time where nobody knew what the fuck was going on.
It was a fatal diagnosis. If you were HIV positive, that was it. I know I lost two, good, close chums to it.
But my point back then, Less Than Zero, is that a book?
It's a book and a movie. Yeah, Bret Easton Ellis.
Who wrote that book?
Robert Downey, Bret Easton Ellis.
Who wrote? Yeah, okay, that's not him. It's another guy who wrote Fatty, which is a really fun book, which I really liked a lot. But he was a drug guy. And I got into a fight with him about what I'm going to say is that as it turned out, there were never any heterosexual people that ever got AIDS. That, in my knowledge, out of all the sporting figures, out of all the people, all the actors and actresses, and out like dancers and golfers and any politicians and anybody that was famous, no men ever got AIDS except for Magic Johnson and Eazy-E. Okay? Now, the only way that I thought, and maybe it's different over in Africa, and maybe but I knew lots and lots of people that were having unprotected sex back then, and to this day, I don't know anybody other than Magic and or Eazy-E that contracted the virus. And so
I mean, just a Google search on it says, both vaginal and anal sex unprotected can transmit the HIV virus.
Well, but name somebody from the 80s, Jim. Can you name any other famous person that wasn't gay or didn't have a blood transfusion that was straight? Because it decimated the gay community. And the reason it decimated the gay community is because they're having anal sex and the blood would mix.
And that too. And then that's what the Dallas Buyers Club was about. They tried to put them on this medication that was killing them faster, right? I forget what it's called, but it was like the thing that they were prescribing to them, which is what the movie is about. Matthew McConaughey is saying, stop giving them this thing. It's killing all of us faster. That's why he started his program, and that's why everyone started getting his meds, because I'll look up what it's called. But they were giving this medication to the gay community that was just killing them faster.
Well, I didn't know anything about that, but I've always held true to my beliefs that it's very, very hard, especially for a male. A woman's different because when you're having sex with a woman and you're having anal sex with a woman, she's the one bleeding. And, as men, we're much less exposed as far as... the opening in our body when we're having sex. And I never knew any actors. And, you think of basketball players, football players, track.
Yeah.
Right?
It was called AZT, I think was the drug that they were
That's what I remember,
yeah.
AZT.
Yeah.
There was a famous boxer named Tommy Morrison. Remember him?
Well, but Tommy also, I believe, Tommy was a big and bad drug addict.
And
I think he was probably shooting.
Whored around quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't shoot up too.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Hanging around with hookers.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is nobody. Now you did name somebody else, so that's 3. Now there were millions of gay men who died from that disease, and no straight men ever contracted that disease through sex, like vaginal sex. I've never heard of any, but out of all the actors and actresses and everybody that's ever been famous and politicians and So I've always believed that, there was always, if you weren't getting it by a blood transfusion or using a dirty needle, it's a pretty good chance you were having anal intercourse. But anyway, I'll stick to that. Maybe some of our
I'm sure you'll get some contrary views on that for sure.
Well, can you think of anybody else, Jim, that was famous?
Not really.
Or even women, actresses or athletes or women didn't famous women didn't get it either. It was pretty much confined to the gay community.
That's true. That's true. You didn't hear women. I mean, women got it, but you didn't hear them getting it anywhere near.
They got it, but when you can't name an actress back then who got it, you can't name an athlete woman back there that got it, a famous writer, a famous newscaster, a famous. Anyway, I don't know how we got it. Oh, it was Charlie. It was Charlie. And the fact that, there's,
when I heard Charlie.
So if I was talking to Charlie, I wouldn't even have to ask him if he was a top or a bottom because, I don't.
When I heard he was HIV positive, I assumed right off the bat it was drugs.
Well, that's what I thought it was too. But and when.
I thought, I could be wrong, but I was listening to him on Rogan, and it sounded like he was staying away from heroin. So I don't know. His thing seemed to be crack, cocaine, and booze was kind of his mix. So I don't think he was really shooting up. I could be wrong, but
he's also come out and said that he's, had slept with men. So if you've slept with men, If you say you've had that experience of sleeping with men, you're either a top or you're a bottom, and it's the bottoms that always used to get. It was I think in the gay community, and all the gay people that listen to this, they can write in and tell me what an idiot I am. But I think it was most of the gay men that were the bottoms that were getting AIDS more than the.
That was I think the surest means of transmission. You'd have to have some, issues like, but that was the surest means. The most frequent means.
Well, now that we've really brought this podcast into like all Michael Biehn speculation, don't listen to me. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know. I've got all these theories and none of them really make any sense. So, Jim, we are going to. We're kind of at that point where we're going to. Stop talking.
Oh, okay.
Which is really hard for me to do, especially if the conversation has anything to do with me. So what am I supposed to say at the end here about
subscribe, like, follow, comment,
subscribe,
not describe, subscribe,
not describe.
No.
What is it again?
Subscribe, like, follow, comment,
like. Yeah, we love your comments. I love the comments.
Oh, people loved Chris Murphy, by the way.
They
too.
did.
He was
really
great.
Surprised.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Chris could come back here and tell
you can bring
another
back,
30 stories. Another 30 stories. You remember the last thing I said to him was, "Well, the next time you come on, we can talk about Heidi Fleiss a little bit."
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is just, So.
Like I said, I met Chris 40 years ago, and most of what I went on in that podcast, I'd never known before. Never known. And I just love the way he can drop things like, yeah, and then Francis Coppola was looking at my view and there was a hole in my floor. And I said, what's that? Well, that's Dean Martin's piano. Well, give it back.
Yeah.
Give it back.
I
was having a drink with Dean. He said, give it back.
There was one story that Chris reminded me of after we were recording and we were out in the driveway. And he looked at my head and he looked right between my eyes and he said, how's that scar doing right there? And he goes, oh, it's gone now. And so when I was how old was I? A year old?
4. Maybe you were younger. Maybe you were 2 or
about
1.
2. I was a baby. And Chris, I of course don't remember, but the story's been told over and over again. And Chris
by his mother,
by my mom.
Yeah, boy, she was pissed. She was so pissed. Yeah, you were an infant. You were a baby.
And Chris, for whatever reason, because he's crazy, was on the other side of the room and he took a bottle cap and put it between his fingers and he flicked it and it flew across the room and nailed me right in between the eyes.
You're kidding.
And
I had that scar for years afterwards.
Yeah, I saw him checking for this. So, here, come here, Caitlin. Let me look. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not there anymore. Okay, good. Oh boy, Gina, Caitlin's mother, she was fucking livid. Chris was always, well, she was livid about that for whatever reasons, but
I think it's a valid reason to be really for whatever reason.
Pretty valid.
Yeah. Between the eyes.
Pretty valid. All right, Jim. We're gonna call this, and I will speak to you again. And when I say soon, I mean very soon. Okay.
You got it.
All right.